Social Security is delivering something on Christmas Day, and I'm not talking about your benefit check. I'm talking about a document that every single one of the 75 million Social Security beneficiaries needs to pay attention to. This is hitting on December 25th digitally, and then it's going out in the mail the day after Christmas. Now, you might be thinking, it's just tax paperwork. Who cares? But here's the thing. With all the talk about that $2,000 stimulus check, with the Social Security Fairness Act that gave some people huge back payments this year, and with new tax deductions for seniors that just got signed into law, this document could be the difference between getting money you're owed or missing out completely. I'm going to explain exactly what's being delivered, why you absolutely need to hold on to it, and what could go wrong if you don't pay attention to this. Let's get into it. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Tony, and on this channel, Retirees Benefits, we break down everything related to Social Security, benefits, stimulus payments, and financial programs that affect people on fixed incomes. I've been covering Social Security news for years, and I read through all these government announcements so you don't have to. I know a lot of you don't typically deal with tax documents or filing tax returns, but this year is different. Trust me on this one. Stay with me here because this affects everyone getting Social Security, whether you normally file taxes or not, whether you think you owe taxes or not. This is one of those situations where what you don't know really can hurt you. All right, so here's what's happening. On December 25th, Christmas Day, the Social Security Administration is going to make your SSA 1099 or SSA 1042S available in your My Social Security account on their website. This isn't a gift, but it's something you absolutely need to unwrap and understand. Now, what are these forms? This is your official tax documentation. It shows exactly how much money Social Security paid you during 2025. If you live in the United States, you'll get the SSA 1099. If you're a beneficiary living outside the country, you'll get the SSA 1042S. These forms don't just go to you, they also get sent to the IRS. That's right. The IRS gets a copy showing exactly how much Social Security income you received. This is furnished directly to them. So the government already knows what you got paid. This form is your proof, your record, your documentation that matches what they have on file. On December 26th, the day after Christmas, Social Security will start mailing out physical paper copies of these forms. All of them should arrive no later than January 31st. Which is the federal deadline for getting these tax documents out. The SSA processes and mails millions of these forms every single year. It's a massive operation, and they take it seriously because this information feeds directly into the nation's tax system. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, I don't file taxes. I don't need this. Hold on. Let me explain why you absolutely do need to pay attention to this document, even if you've never filed taxes in your life. Remember all that talk about the $2,000 stimulus check? The president has mentioned it multiple times. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has talked about it. Senator Josh Hawley introduced legislation for it. We still don't know if it's actually going to happen, but let's talk about what could happen if it does. If that $2,000 payment goes out, most people should get it automatically. That's how it's supposed to work. The government uses the information they already have on file, your Social Security records, your direct deposit information, your last known address, and they just send the money. But here's what we learned from 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic stimulus payments. Not everyone got their money automatically. Millions of people had to wait months or even years to claim their stimulus checks. And you know what the IRS told them years after those stimulus checks went out? The IRS came out and said that if you didn't receive your payment for whatever reason, the only way to claim it was to file a federal tax return. Even people who normally don't file taxes, even people who had never filed taxes in their entire lives, had to file just to get their stimulus money. Now, I'm not giving you tax advice here. I'm not an accountant or a CPA, but I'm telling you what happened before, and there's a good chance it could happen again. If this $2,000 stimulus payment actually happens, and that's still a big if, there will probably be some people who don't get it automatically. Maybe there's a database error. Maybe your direct deposit information is outdated because you switched banks last year. Maybe the address they have on file is old because you moved. Maybe something just falls through the cracks in the system. These things happen. The government processes hundreds of millions of payments, and mistakes happen. And if you're one of those people who doesn't get it automatically, you'll need to file a tax return to claim it. And guess what? You'll need to file that return. This SSA 1099 or SSA 1042S form. This is your proof of income. Without it, you can't file. The IRS won't accept a tax return that doesn't include accurate income information. So even if you've never filed taxes before, even if you normally don't need to file, hold on to this document, put it somewhere safe. You might need it in 2026 to claim that stimulus money. Think about it. $2,000 is a lot of money for someone on a fixed income. That could cover months of groceries, pay off medical bills, or handle an emergency car repair. You don't want to miss out on that money just because you threw away a tax form thinking you didn't need it. Now, let me talk about another group of people who really need to pay attention to this. About 3 million Social Security beneficiaries got significantly more money in 2025 because of the Social Security Fairness Act. This law was signed back in January 2025. There was a big signing ceremony and everything. President Trump signed it, Congress celebrated it, and millions of people who had been shortchanged for years finally got justice. What it did was repeal two rules called the Windfall Elimination Provision, that's the WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, that's the GPO. These rules used to reduce Social Security benefits for people who also received a government pension. We're talking about teachers, firefighters, police officers, postal workers, and other public employees who worked in positions that didn't pay into Social Security. For decades, these folks got penalized, even though they paid into Social Security through other jobs, even though they earned those benefits fair and square. The WEP and GPO slashed their monthly checks. Some people lost hundreds of dollars every single month because of these provisions. When the law got repealed, those 3 million people started getting their full Social Security benefits. Not only did their monthly payments go up starting in April 2025, but a lot of them also got huge lump sum back payments to make up for years of reduced benefits. I'm talking about people who received $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or more in back payments. All that money that should have been theirs all along finally paid out in one big check. For many people, this was life-changing money. They paid off debt, caught up on bills, helped their grandkids, made home repairs they'd been putting off for years. Here's the problem. A lot of these folks don't realize they're about to get hit hard with taxes. They got thousands and thousands of dollars in extra income in 2025, and that income is taxable. Social Security benefits can be taxed at the federal level, and when you suddenly receive a massive lump sum payment on top of your regular monthly benefits, your taxable income shoots up dramatically. If you're one of those 3 million people, you probably didn't plan for this. You probably didn't set aside money for taxes on that big lump sum payment. And when you get your SSA 1099 form on Christmas Day or in the mail, you're going to see a much higher number than you're used to seeing. Instead of seeing $20,000 or $25,000 in annual Social Security income like you've seen in previous years, you might see $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 because of that back payment. And that number is what gets reported to the IRS. That number is what determines your tax liability. You're most likely going to need to file a tax return this year. And this form, this SSA 1099, is absolutely critical. Without it, you can't file your return, and you could face penalties from the IRS. Even if you normally don't file because your income is below the threshold, this year is different. This year, that lump sum pushes you over the line. Now, there is some good news in all of this, which brings me to the next major change you need to know about. There's one more reason why this tax filing season is going to be different from any other year. Over the summer, Congress passed a big tax reconciliation bill, and buried in that bill was something huge for seniors. There's now a senior deduction of $6,000 for single filers and $12,000 for married couples filing jointly. This is on top of the standard deduction. Let me say that again because it's so important. This is in addition to the standard deduction, not instead of it. For 2025, the standard deduction is $15,750 for single filers and $31,500 for married couples filing jointly. Now add that new senior deduction on top. That means a single person 65 or older can shield $21,750 from federal taxes. A married couple filing jointly can protect $43,500 of their income from federal taxes. And there's more. People 65 and older also get an additional standard deduction that's been around for years. That's another $2,000 for single filers and $3,200 for married couples. When you add everything together, we're talking about a total standard deduction of $23,750 for single seniors and $46,700 for married couples in 2025. What this means is that some people who normally wouldn't need to file a tax return might actually benefit from filing this year because they could get money back or they might be able to reduce how much they owe. If you had taxes withheld from your Social Security throughout the year, and then with all these deductions you end up owing zero in taxes, you're entitled to a refund of everything that was withheld. Again, I'm not a tax professional. You should talk to an accountant or use tax software to figure out your specific situation. But my point is this: the 2025 tax filing season is not business as usual. There are new rules, new deductions, and potentially new stimulus payments that could affect whether you need to file or not. And if you do need to file, whether it's to claim a stimulus payment, report your Social Security Fairness Act back payment, or take advantage of that new $6,000 senior deduction, you absolutely must have this SSA 1099 form. There's no way around it. The IRS requires it. Tax software requires it. Any accountant or tax preparer you work with will ask for it immediately. Now, here's something really important that a lot of people don't think about. When you get your SSA 1099 or SSA 1042S form, don't just throw it in a drawer. Don't just assume it's correct and file it away. Take a few minutes and actually look at the numbers. It's rare, but mistakes do happen. Social Security is a huge agency processing millions of these forms. They're dealing with complex databases, multiple payment types, adjustments from the Social Security Fairness Act, cost of living adjustments, and all kinds of other variables. Sometimes numbers get entered wrong. Sometimes there are computer glitches. Sometimes data from different systems doesn't sync up properly. Let me give you an example. Let's say you actually received $12,000 in Social Security benefits during 2025, but when you look at your form, it says $36,000. Maybe someone accidentally multiplied your amount by 3, or maybe your benefits got mixed up with someone else's in the database, or maybe a back payment got counted twice. Here's the problem. That form doesn't just go to you, it goes to the IRS. So now the IRS thinks you received $36,000 when you really only got $12,000. They have a record showing $36,000. Their computers are expecting to see $36,000 reported on your tax return. Guess what happens next? The IRS comes knocking. They want to know why you didn't report all that income. They might think you're trying to hide money from them. They might think you're committing tax fraud. You could face penalties, interest, audits, all kinds of headaches. And here's the worst part. Once the IRS thinks you owe money, it's on you to prove them wrong. You have to gather bank statements, benefit statements, and any other documentation showing what you actually received. It becomes a nightmare of paperwork, phone calls, and waiting on hold for hours trying to reach someone who can help. On the flip side, what if your form shows less than you actually received? Let's say you actually got $25,000 in benefits, but your form only shows $20,000. Now, you're not reporting all your income, and that could also cause problems down the line. If the IRS ever audits you and discovers the discrepancy, you could face penalties for underreporting, even though it was the government's mistake in the first place. My point is this: take 2 minutes and verify that the amount on your form matches what you actually received in 2025. Add up your monthly benefit statements. Check your bank deposits if you get direct deposit. Make sure the numbers make sense. If you received a lump sum payment from the Social Security Fairness Act, make sure that's included in the total. If you had any adjustments during the year, verify those are reflected accurately. If anything looks wrong, even if you're not sure, but something just doesn't seem right, contact Social Security immediately and get it corrected. Don't wait until you're trying to file your taxes in March or April and realize the numbers don't match up. By then, you're in a time crunch, and fixing errors takes weeks or even months. Handle it now in late December or early January when you first get the form. That gives you plenty of time to resolve any issues before tax season really heats up. So, let's talk about how to actually get this form on December 25th. It's going to be available in your My Social Security account. If you already have a My Social Security account, just log in on Christmas Day or any time after that. You'll be able to download your form digitally. It's right there. You can save it to your computer, email it to yourself, print it out, whatever you want to do. Having digital access means you don't have to wait for the mail. You don't have to worry about it getting lost. You don't have to worry about it arriving late. You have immediate access to your tax information exactly when you need it. If you don't have a My Social Security account, you can still get your form. It's going to be mailed to you starting December 26th. You should receive it no later than January 31st. But here's what I recommend. If you don't have a My Social Security account, create one. It's completely free. There's no cost whatsoever. You don't need to have one, but it's a really handy tool. I have one myself. I log in maybe 3 or 4 times a year just to check that everything looks correct. You can see your benefit amounts, your payment history, update your information, request replacement documents, all from your phone or computer. Social Security has been very clear about their mission right now. They want to digitize everything. They don't want people coming into field offices unless absolutely necessary. They want to reduce wait times on the phone. They want all 200 million of us who interact with Social Security to eventually have these online accounts. And honestly, it makes sense. Why wait for something in the mail when you can access it instantly? Why call and wait on hold for an hour when you can handle it online in 5 minutes? The agency is moving toward a digital-first model, and beneficiaries who embrace that will have a smoother, easier experience. So, if you have the ability to create an account, if you have access to email and can verify your identity online, I highly recommend it. It takes maybe 10 minutes to set up, and then you have access to all your information whenever you need it. You can log in at 2 a.m. if you want. You're not limited by business hours or phone center availability. All right, let me bring this all home. Here's what you need to do. First, watch for your SSA 1099 or SSA 1042S form. If you have a My Social Security account, it's available Christmas Day. If you're waiting for it in the mail, it should arrive by the end of January. Second, when you get it, actually look at it. Check the numbers. Make sure the amount they say you received matches what you actually got. Pull out your bank statements if you need to. Add up your deposits. Verify everything. If there's an error, contact Social Security right away. Don't wait. Don't assume it will fix itself. Call them, email them through your account, or visit a field office if necessary. Third, put this form somewhere safe. Don't lose it. Don't throw it away. Don't leave it sitting on your kitchen table where it could get spilled on or accidentally tossed in the trash. Find a secure spot, maybe a file folder labeled 2025 taxes or a drawer where you keep important documents. Make sure you can find it again when you need it. You might need it to file taxes, claim a stimulus payment, or prove your income for something else during 2026. This single piece of paper could be worth thousands of dollars to you, so treat it with the importance it deserves. Fourth, if you're one of those 3 million people who got extra money from the Social Security Fairness Act, understand that you're probably going to need to file taxes this year. That lump sum payment changed your tax situation dramatically. Start preparing for that now. Talk to a tax professional if you can. Many community organizations offer free tax help for seniors. Look into AARP's Tax Aid Program or the IRS's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Don't wait until April 15th to figure this out. Start planning in January. Gather all your documents. Understand what you might owe. And if you need to set up a payment plan with the IRS, do it early before penalties and interest start adding up. Fifth, keep an eye out for news about that $2,000 stimulus payment. We still don't know if it's happening or when it might happen, but if it does, having this form ready will make the process much smoother if you need to claim it manually. Stay informed. Watch reliable news sources. Follow the Social Security Administration's official communications. Don't rely on rumors or social media posts. Get your information from legitimate sources. Look, I know tax documents aren't exciting. I know most of you would rather ignore all this stuff. Dealing with government forms and IRS rules isn't anyone's idea of a good time. But this is one of those situations where a little bit of attention now can save you a massive headache later. Think about it. Would you rather spend 5 minutes right now making sure you have this form and that it's accurate? Or would you rather spend months next year fighting with the IRS, trying to prove your income or claim money you're owed? Would you rather take a few seconds to verify the numbers today or deal with penalties, interest, and potential audits because something didn't match up? Would you rather have this document ready to go when you need it or scramble around in April trying to figure out where you put it? This is your financial protection. This is your proof of income. This is potentially the key to getting stimulus money or tax refunds. This single document could mean the difference between owing the IRS money or getting money back. It could determine whether you successfully claim a $2,000 stimulus check or miss out entirely. It could prevent a tax audit or help you resolve one quickly if it happens. Don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it as just another piece of government mail. Give it the attention it deserves. So, to recap everything, Social Security is making your tax form available on December 25th online and mailing it out December 26th. This form shows how much you received in 2025. You need to hold on to it because of potential stimulus payments, because of the Social Security Fairness Act changes, and because of new tax deductions for seniors. Check the form for accuracy when you get it. Don't just assume it's correct. Verify the numbers against your own records and store it somewhere safe where you can find it again. If you don't have a My Social Security account, consider creating one for easier access. The digital world is here, and the Social Security Administration is moving in that direction. Those who adapt will have a much easier time managing their benefits. For those affected by the Social Security Fairness Act, start preparing now for a different tax situation. That lump sum payment changed everything. Don't wait until the last minute to figure out what you owe or what deductions you qualify for. And finally, remember that the 2025 tax year is unique. Between the Social Security Fairness Act, the new $6,000 senior deduction, and the possibility of stimulus payments, this is not a normal year. Things that didn't matter before might matter now. People who never filed taxes might need to file this year. Approach this tax season with fresh eyes and an understanding that the rules have changed. If this video helped you understand what's coming and why it matters, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I put out new videos every week covering Social Security updates, benefit programs, stimulus news, and ways to manage your money on a fixed income. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you going to create a My Social Security account to get your form digitally? Are you one of the people affected by the Social Security Fairness Act? How are you planning to handle your taxes this year? I read every comment and I try to answer as many questions as I can. And don't forget to check out my other videos on making extra money with side hustle apps and navigating the Social Security system. Those links are in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Happy holidays to you and your family. Stay warm out there, and I'll see you in the next video.